everybody. How are you doing? I am here today to make some masculine cards with you. So tell me as you start popping in if you like masculine cards, if you struggle with them, what kind of things you want to see. We're going to do one card today, and I would love to know how you think audio is. I am listening to it today. And I just want to make sure it's not echoey for anyone. So if you can pop that into comments, that would be amazing. I see a couple people are starting to join, which is awesome. So I'm going to reproduce a masculine card that I had made previously. So you may see it on my Instagram, but I have not done a YouTube video or anything like that on it. And I really wanted to make sure that I got one out there. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go live today and do it again because it's kind of you definitely want to know how to use the stencil that I'm using. It's a little bit complicated, and so I want to show you if you have that stencil. If you don't, just make along with me and make sure that you can just use my ideas. We'll chat, we'll brainstorm ideas. I always love to hear what everybody is thinking. And hey to April, Pat. It looks like Kathy's there. Okay, good. It looks like everybody can hear me. So I have this microphone set right here, and when I craft, I'm gonna have to go about to here. So I think with my headphones, I feel like I can hear that okay, but if y'all start worrying about it, just make sure you let me know, okay? So the card that we're gonna make today, I'm just gonna hold it up, is this. So this is using new all to new things. So you're going to need an embossing folder. I've got a stenciled sentiment. You could put any sentiment on here. We're going to keep it pretty simple because the stenciling is very in depth. And I want to show you some fun things with blending that can create this cool look. So I am going to go ahead and put this down, and then we will get started. A couple of things while people are jumping on. I wanted to show you another card that I made for that Altenew thing that was also a masculine card. This one we're not going to do today, but I wanted you to see it. I added black splatter to this at the end, and I wasn't quite so sure about the black splatter, but I think that if I redid this card, I would do it without black splatter, or maybe play with some different type because I just didn't get the dots dark enough. Do you guys have a favorite black splatter that you use? I'm open to suggestions on that, but this is the other one that is using a stencil from that new Altenew release, and a lot of the same principles apply to the shading, so we'll go over some of that. Okay, so, oh yeah, thank you so much for saying. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button on my channel. That would be so great. Today is a big day announcement-wise. I did put a lot of stuff in the description for you so that you have links to supplies. I'm sure, as always, I've forgotten something, so feel free to comment and let me know that if I've missed a supply, I need to put it in there. But today's the day that the Card Maker Success Summit goes live. That's a set of free classes. There are 41 teachers. I put my link below. I will explain more of what that's about throughout the thing, but if you are thinking about going, it helps me so much if you will use my link. You can get a free ticket, you can get a paid ticket, and I'll talk to you about the differences during those so that you know. Hi, Patty. Nice to see you. Okay, so Patty, I was showing them, this is the card that we're going to make today. Okay. So you're definitely going to need an embossing folder. This embossing folder, let's get what I'm going to use today. So let me switch my camera for you. Okay, so here is what the main products are that we're using today. These are new in the February release. You don't have to have this release, but you can use something. So I'm thinking something geometric in your background. It could be a stencil, it could be whatever, and then just a really cool sentiment. So what I love about these sentiments is that I feel like "you are awesome" works great for guys. You know, XXO if you were making a Valentine card or something like that. And I think it has "thank you" on there. I mean, that's obviously fine, but I really liked the "you are awesome." So anyway, that's kind of what we're going with. And I saw in here somebody donates a lot of cards. Is that Joan? Yes, I am actually, and that's part of my brainstorm today. I need y'all to help me brainstorm. I have to make 140 masculine cards with the middle schoolers at my kids' school to give to the veterans home. They really want them, they want birthday cards that they can give out all year. So we're going to brainstorm what might work for a kid to make. I think this stencil is a little too complicated for the kids, and it doesn't say happy birthday. We could write you are awesome, but it doesn't say happy birthday. So what I'm going to use as far as paper, I'm going to use black as the background. So I cut these to 4.25 by 5.5, just the usual A2 size. This is actually Altenews Jet Black cardstock. It has been out for a little while, but I don't know if it's coming back. So in my description, I put a couple of my other favorite black cardstocks, but I wanted to use this one because this is what I used on the card, and I figured that would be a good thing. So you're going to need some black cardstock. You're going to need some Bristol Smooth or whatever you use for stenciling. Okay, so I'm going to use Bristol Smooth, which is this piece. And as you can see, I've labeled everything because I get a little nervous in my lives. And so I labeled it. This is what that card's using for. And then we have 2 stripes. So we'll ink blend 2 stripes here that are, I'll give you the dimensions on those. I used Bristol Smooth for that also, okay? So it's a pretty simple card, but it gives a huge impact because of its ink blending. So it's really fun. All right, so we've got get cards ready if y'all are making along with me so that you can do this. I am not, because my microphone is so much better today, I believe, I'm trying not to make a ton of background noise, but you will hear me open. I'm going to have to open plastic, all that stuff. So what I would say is let's go ahead and get this background sitting around and ready for us. So I'm going to open it up. With it being a geometric shape like this. So you see how it's, I'm going to have you look here. Do you notice how there's definite lines where you really need to have this the right way unless you're just, okay, geometric things make me want to be a little type A. You see how it's got a line across there? You need to make sure that you've got your paper straight in this, especially if you've already pre-cut it because you want it to be straight. So when I'm putting it in, I want to make sure that I have it level. You could put it all the way up to the top, but I tend to move down here. And then I look at it through here. You can look at it through these lines. You see that? And see that you've got your paper level. You see how those lines are hitting right on the top? So that way your design is not crooked or off or whatever. It just really helps that out a lot. So when you've got an embossing folder like this, just look for the lines that are already in the embossing folder, and a lot of times that will help you line it up. So you can line it up right along there. I could move it down to this line. All of these are straight lines, so very easy to line up your paper. I am not going to send it through my embossing machine while on camera, but I want to show you what the sandwich is that I use. Okay, so I tend to use a Spellbinders Platinum 6 for embossing folders specifically because I like the pressure that it applies and how easy it is. So you can use any machine, you can use different pressure, and I know you'll figure out on your machine what works the best for you. But I have this right here. Let's turn it this way. This is the platform base for Spellbinders when they have this wonderful system that tells you exactly what to do. How amazing. And I use what they say, platform base, which is what this is, then my embossing folder with my piece of paper, okay? And then this is plate D, okay? That is all I do. I run it through one time, and that's all it takes to create this. Okay, see how good that looks? Speaking of like ideas for mail things, I love the fact that you could flip this over and you could do this on watercolor cardstock and color those in. It would be amazing. Okay, so that would be so fun. I am going to pop up a couple things because I'm trying some stuff out, and you guys know that I am my own tech person here, so sometimes things might get a little wonky, but look at this. I popped myself up in a little bubble. I'm learning every time, trying to get better for all of you guys. So I'm going to put my head up here while we craft just so I can, be able to, I guess, sort of make eye contact with you if that's okay. And then I wanted to pop up what I was talking about earlier just so that you can see. I'll take myself down. I did want to pop up this Card Maker Success Summit that I was talking about. So that is free. Sign up starts today. You want to sign up early because if you decide you're doing the paid class, it is cheaper to do it early. Okay. So you definitely want to do that on the early side. And then I wanted to show you real quick what I'm going to make for the Card Maker Success Summit. I don't know if you can see this, but this is my title is Make It 3D. Okay. So really fun. I am giving away anybody who does a VIP ticket with me will get an extra masculine card class. So just so you know. All right. So hopefully everybody has got whatever piece they're going to use that's embossed if you're making along. Let's just set that aside, okay? Because that's just going to be the base of our card. It is now time to work on the stenciling, which means I have to locate the paper. There it is. I am going to use my Altenew stamp wheel. Let me pop my head back up in here too, just so I can still be saying hi to everybody. And yeah, I'm wearing headphones today. I know that's not my usual look, but it actually is kind of nice for, like, it holds my hair back, which is kind of nice. Okay, so I'm just going to use the sticky mat part of this Altenew stamp wheel. Go ahead and take my note off so that I've got that. And let me get this in a good frame for you. So here. So as far as inks go today, we are going to, it may seem excessive because this is a small stencil, but we are going to use 3 green inks and we're going to use 3 blue. I'm going to pull them out of here because they come in a 4-pack at Altenew, but we're going to use 3 of these. Okay, so let's see if we can, oh, that's not going to be in camera. Right there, Dusk and Desert Night. Let's see if that'll stay in view for you. I don't know that I'll be able to leave them there because this is about to get real right here. We're about to get stenciling, trying not to shake a camera, okay? So that, if you've ever done that, you know that's a problem. Okay, now let's locate the stencil. All right, so let's get the stencil out of its pack. And we really need to examine this stencil. It took me a minute. I know it's probably pretty simple, but it took me a minute because it's a little different, okay? So, as you can see, there are 2 You Are Awesomes, okay? There's the top part and the bottom part, and we're gonna have to line these up for them to work correctly, okay? So, you have You Are Awesome, You Are Awesome. The rest of this stencil is all different sentiments. So we're going to need to do a little bit of masking as well. So when you're looking, the reason I cut my page here so big is because I didn't want to have to worry about where I lined this up. I wanted to be able to just put it somewhere and then cut the middle of this page out. If you don't want to do that, then you can line it up perfectly up here and keep yourself a little bit of extra paper. Thank you, Kathy. All right, so we've got here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do green on the top and blue on the bottom, okay? So all we're worried about right now is the top. So I'm just going to kind of go like right about there, seems middle to me. Now, when you got a grid mat like this or a sticky mat and your stencil is not big enough to go all the way across, I'm going to have to use some tape, okay? Oh, yeah. Hey, Kathy, the stamp wheel, to me, I have definitely been using it more than my Misty. I just love the sticky mat, and I tried the sticky mat for the Misty from Waffle Flower, and I'm just not having as good of look. I feel like this one's stickier. I don't know if I'm just not cleaning the other one correctly or not, but I felt like this one did a better job. So that is why I tend to go with this one more often. I do still like the Misty to put a lot of pressure on a stamp if you need to, but I really am finding that I can just use this and be okay. So, all right, so I told you, lots of tape, okay? You could pixie spray the back of this, but look at all these things we need to mask off. I'm going to mask off this whole side over here. And yes, you can use tape on your sticky mat. It hasn't caused any trouble. Okay, so we're going to be moving tape around a decent amount today. is kind of nice. This is the Spellbinders tape. I know I did not put that on the supply list. Does anybody have questions about Card Maker Success Summit? Have y'all all been before? Anybody? Okay, we'll see what they say. So really, I can put it here because we're just doing the top of our stencil. See how I need to do this part. So I'm just going to make sure I've got all those covered, and that's a little bit of the reason why I'm using a thick page, because I'm covering that up. I don't think I'm going to get it messy enough to get this little spot right here, but I am going to get messy enough to get this. I'm not the neatest stenciler. Yesterday I was filming a video. Sorry, I hit the table when I laughed. Yesterday I was filming a video and I was showing how juicy ink pads are. Okay. And so I'm going to move my blue ones so they're out of the screen. And we're going to start with lime. But I was showing how juicy my ink pads were, and I thought, oh, red would look really good, like in this camera shot. And so, sorry, I'm cracking myself up. So I get all the red ink pads out, and I get on camera, and I thought, I'm going to try to talk through this video versus like trying to go back and, edit and just see what happens, because I got myself a new little mic. And so I'm there and I'm holding the ink pad and I drop it and catch it in this hand. I cannot believe it's not still red. So drop it, catch it, then it bounces off. So this whole area is very nice and clean right now. And somehow red is not on my hands, even though y'all have to see my cute little nails. Okay. All right. I hope all of you had a good Valentine's Day. It's one of those weird holidays. I don't know, but I hope everybody enjoyed it and had a good time. We're going to start with limeade, and we're barely going to do anything with this, okay? I do also like that when I'm ink blending with a sticky mat, a lot of times your ink fits in the corner and it sticks down. So this one I've got just not quite enough space. Put it down here. Of course, I'm going to get that all over me if I do, but I'm just going to sort of wedge mine right there. And once again, this is limeade. And yeah, I know, Kathy, you've been to that event. It's a great event. They've got way more speakers this time, which is good in that you've got a lot more options for classes, but bad in that there's probably no way you can do them all. So I know there's going to be people who get frustrated and who want to see everything and not buy the VIP pass, but I think you're going to have to this time if you really want all those classes. And you get to keep them forever, because it's so annoying when you're taking a class and you go back and you're like wanting to recheck something. Those classes are not allowed to be out in the public. They're like there for that period of time, and then that is it. So I'm going to change up the different types of brushes that I'm using to get different effects today. So I don't know if y'all seen, I also have a new class, my first ever class on Altenew Academy. And it's about blending and different size blending brushes. So it's free right now. Sorry, let me click myself off camera so I can do something really quick. Okay, so it's free, and sorry, I needed to wipe my nose really quick. Okay, so it's free. It's just something, if you decide you want to look at different blending brushes, you can. So these are the older Altenew inks. They're called crisp dye inks, and I just don't have this color in the new ones yet, hopefully soon. But it is a really neon-y green, and I love that color when I'm doing a masculine card. So I'm going to come in and just lay down some color, and I'm going to hold with my hands because I did not put pixie spray on this, and I can tell you that you get some mushy looking lines and stuff if you're not holding some good pressure on this, because look how sharp these lines need to be. So you could do pixie spray, that might make it easier, but for me with pixie spray, sometimes I get a little residue on my card, and so that can cause some trouble. So while I'm doing this, yeah, it's hard to navigate the site. Yeah, they're definitely, like all of us, we're always improving our tech. And, none of us are like professional tech people, but it has definitely improved. And she's gotten some really good tech help. So, number one person I would go to if you have any trouble is like, just try support. But Ardith Percy Robb does a lot of the support for the summit, if you know who that is, and a lot if you follow her on Instagram. she can a lot of times help you with the navigation too. So, but yeah, it's going to be a mass craziness when everybody's trying to watch all those classes, I think. But that's all right. Maybe more people will buy tickets, and that'll help support us crafters a little bit. So I'm just laying down light color. I don't know. Can you see that okay? Need to pay attention to it. Me with my eyes getting older, I'm going to have to like scoot way down here and be like, what is going on? Does that have color? I'm definitely going to have to get close to it at some point because it's hard to stand back here where you've got a microphone and you got a camera, and I'm basically watching myself in the camera to see how I'm ink blending. That's not going to work when I get a little bit more detail, just FYI. So I'm trying to do this light, but I do want some color down here. So, okay. So this stamp is made to look, or not stamp, this stencil is made to kind of look like chrome. Okay. And so it's looking like a reflection. So the idea is, let's start with our lightest color, and then we'll go and add depth. Okay, so we're going to go kind of like it's a reflection. We're going to take it dark to light and then light to dark. Okay, so let's talk more. Anybody got any ideas or thoughts on making mass producing masculine cards with kids? I know that stencils and things sometimes can get a little bit hard because we've got so many kids that'll be in. I'll probably have like 20 or 30 kids for each time that I like work with them to make cards. So it's definitely quite a few. And then I'm just getting my color kind of even here. So I'm going to get rid of limeade. We're going to move to our next color. Okay. Now, because this is two different words, you could break it up and just do "you are" and then kind of go that awesome is faded down. But I really liked the way it looked with, if you can see mine, with a darker color on the top of both "you are" and "awesome." I just thought it was more cohesive. So yeah, I love Ardith as well. She's always been very, very helpful and good to me. All right, so hope Ardith is watching. Hi Ardith, if you are. I bet she's very busy right now with the Card Maker Success Summit. So we got, this is lime. Oh, I guess it'd help if I show you the top of it, right? Okay, sorry. Sorry, every time I laugh, my belly hits the hits the table and makes it go. I do want to pop in just in case you haven't done it or you forgot who I am or you're not a usual around here. I am Nikki Baxley. I'm Nikki Hearts Cards on everything. And I would love to see you out there on different social medias. I am using an angled brush. Yes, I know it's got red. I do not have enough of these to have one for every color, so it has been washed, but we're going to use it for green today because that's all I've got. And so if you want to see, it's Altenews Detail Blending Brush number 7. Oh yeah, Pat, that's a good idea. Go ahead and cut out some stuff with a scan and cut. Ah, and then they could assemble things. That is a very good idea. I was trying to think like paint and like splatter. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too complicated. So yes, that might be a great idea. Okay, I really think that is going to help. So here we go. We are going to color about the top half of these. And here's where we're going to run into me needing to duck my head down here to make sure that I can see what I'm doing, okay? I'm just kind of going through here, and you don't want to wedge that edge underneath your stencil, so you'll see that I hold it close to try to make sure I'm not going underneath it. I have found the easiest way is to come from the top and try to bring the color down. You see how that's starting to manifest, I guess we could say. I don't know what word I'm going to use here. But you want to leave enough space that you've got all the colors kind of visible. Okay, so guys, tell me too what you think about what about lives? Are y'all fans of lives? I'm assuming since you're here, you're a fan. Do you like it when it's more like showing products? Do you like it when it's making cards? What's your favorite thing? And are y'all making along with me today? I would love to hear what you're making if you are. It doesn't have to be this. Oh yeah, Pat, that's a good idea. Paint, that would be a problem. True. Yeah. So I see what you're saying. And you are absolutely correct that teens are not patient. Oh my goodness. I've got one teenager and one that's about to be a teenager. I need lots of prayers, guys. Hopefully we make it through it fine. Oh, okay. Joe's making some cards for a swap today. That's awesome. Very awesome. I have been filming my craft room, so it's probably a little cleaner than it usually is. I am still debating this back wall back here. See if you can see it. That back wall, I don't like the color, and I really want to do something brighter. I'm kind of thinking about white and then like putting some lights on it or something. But if lives are going to be more of a thing in the future, which it seems as if they are, and they are fun to do, and I've had a good response to them, then I want the background to look nice, but I only have one place really in this craft room that I can film like this. So you see how my words starting to do there. I went about half on there. So I've got a lighter area and a darker area. Let's get that up close. See? Can you tell? So now we're going to come in with our dark and do the top part of awesome. Okay. I'm going to remove this Nikki Baxley thing too. So if anybody's new, join in. Tell us what you're working on. Tell us what you're excited about for this spring. Any big vacations or fun things coming up? I am going on spring break, which is very exciting. So I'm right now in the mad dash to get lots of things filmed so that you will have content while I'm gone. Okay, Penny, that's fine. I'm sorry you're having tech problems. But yeah, I am excited to just have a week. We haven't had a vacation in a while, so I'm excited to go somewhere. I actually have we're only going to have one kid with us. The other one's getting to go with another family to Universal. So he's pumped. He's so excited. And so we just have one. We're going to actually go somewhere colder, which seems kind of counterintuitive to our general southern nature, but we're going to go and do some exploring in Chicago because I don't know, it just seems like it'd be fun and there's lots of cool museums. So we're going to check it out, see what it's like. Alrighty. So I'm doing the top of this one and I'm probably not being quite as careful, but I am working on it. So tell me other things that anybody else got any other ideas on making lots of masculine cards at once? What you would want to see? I did put together a cool, I guess you'd call it a PDF, like a kind of like a little online book type thing, but it's a PDF that if you sign up for my newsletter, you get free, and that's part of the free ticket for the Card Maker Success Summit. And it's masculine color combos that I like and like where they are on the color. I kind of looked at a color wheel and told you specific colors that I like using. So if y'all are going, or even if you just want to download that, all the links are in the description. Okay. So you can just go sign up for my newsletter if you're not on it. I'd love to have you there. It's super important for us crafters is to have people on our newsletter. Okay, so these little O's, you see how those come up? I may have gone underneath that. You have to be really careful with that lip that you don't go underneath it. So I'm trying to be careful, but I may have gone under that a bit. So if we get a little faded image, it's because I was talking. Sorry. But, okay, what else can we talk about? Oh, yeah. That's right, Kathy. It is a cool city. It's been so long. My oldest was like 10 months old last time I was there. So if you got any suggestions on great places to eat and museums and stuff, then tell me, send me a message. All right. So are all of you guys on Instagram, Facebook? Are you on all the platforms, or are there certain ones that you like best? Okay. since we're on here, I'm not going to go crazy on this and just really overdo my ink blending. I think I need to take my A down just a little bit further. See how I've got it up here? I'm going to try to make it match a little bit more. So I'm going to take a little bit more, and it's got this teeny little spot right here. You've got to be so careful with that because you need that intense line there. I do have an idea if we mess our lines up. I think if we mess our lines up and we get some faded lines, we could easily outline this using the stencil with a black or a different color like fine liner, and it would almost look like it had been stamped that way. So there's always a fix if we don't get this exactly right. Alrighty. So tell me, what other projects? Anybody else working on any crafting today? Take that down just a little. Okay. Now you can always come back in if you want a little bit more of this color somewhere else. I'm going to stop with my medium and go in and do super fine line with this fresh leaf. Fresh leaf. I'm not sure if they have this color anymore. You could do, I think frayed leaf is pretty similar too. I'm going to use this type of brush. And I might even get a smaller one. So this is a Waffle Flower Shader 3. And this is one of those things where game changer, okay? Game changer, especially for doing blending with this, okay? All I'm going to do is I'm going to get a lot of ink on here, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to kind of just brush along the top right here, just to give myself a little bit darker line, and that looks so cool, okay? So let me show you what I mean. So most of this ink is actually going to go on the stencil, okay? Just barely touching it. Okay, try to hold it up so you can see. And if you want an even bigger effect, you can do an even darker green. But you see how I'm just barely taking that across? They also make these brushes slightly smaller too, so you could go even skinnier lines. Okay, can you see the difference in those two now? So I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and then I'm going to go back and add another layer, okay? So just kind of being free with it. You can see that. I'm trying to hold it at an angle so you can. And just right above the letter, just kind of letting the brushes kind of catch a little bit of that ink and pull it down. And if you get it too dark, just take one of your other blending brushes and blend the colors in. They all are matching colors. So I feel like I didn't get quite enough on that E there. Okay. Could also go in with like a black or something that just really enhances the color. Okay, you see how that's going? Okay, I'm going to go back and add just one more layer of that, and then we're going to move on. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Those are great ideas, Joe. I love the Field Museum. I love it. But y'all know that I'm also, like, my degree is biology. I love science. So that's one of those things that we're definitely going to see. Okay, I just went and added just a little bit more darkness to each of these letters. Okay, now it's time for a reveal. Let's see how we did, okay? Now, because we're using the same stencil, I am going to have to rinse this off. If you're neat enough not to rinse it off, it's perfectly fine. You do you. But I am not neat enough to do that. I am a mess. Man, I'm a mess. And so let's move this here. I'm going to carefully take this tape off. Since this is the first time I might get a little bit of my paper. So I didn't, when you're using your tape, even this Spellbinders tape, it's kind of nice to go ahead and get your fingers all on it and just make it not super sticky. I might end up pulling a little bit of my paper here, but we're not going to use that part of the paper because we're going to only use one section of this, but I want to be careful. Okay. I like the idea of seeing a T-Rex, Joe. That sounds really fun. Okay, y'all tell me, have y'all bought anything lately? Are there any releases you're just loving right now? I'd love to hear what's going on. I just got to be a guest for Picket Fence Studio this month, and also for Paper Tray Ink, and I have not used a ton of their products before and had lots of fun. So you know, they're I didn't have a whole, like, I didn't get a whole lot of a variety, but I was really thought all of them were great quality. Okay, carefully removing this piece, and you see I'm saving my tape because I'm going to reuse this tape. May as well, right? It sticks multiple times, so just adding it to the sides here. This part was starting to pull off a little bit of paper, so I'm trying to be very careful with this side. Yeah, see, it pulled just a little bit in that bottom corner, but we're not going to use that bottom corner, so no big deal. Okay, so I'm going to clean this stencil really quick. Let's look at our reveal here. Ooh, that looks awesome. Ah, you are awesome. It looks awesome. Okay, so let me put this in here. One thing that I added to my craft room, which, let me get a drink of water really quick, that I've added to my craft room that has been like game changer, is a paper towel holder underneath my desk. So if you see me going like this, I'm getting paper towels. And that way I don't have to leave them back here, which is so nice. Paper towels. Okay. All right. So let me clean that off. I'm going to move this out of the way because I could see myself accidentally splashing it. So let's get all this stuff out of here. I did put this stencil down in some, just like a little bit of Dawn in the water. And look, it's like, I don't even have to scrub it or anything. It's coming off perfectly fine. So now I'm just going to dry it really well. And you may say, well, why don't you rinse it? I don't have a sink, so it's just going to stay a little bit sudsy. You know, not everybody has a sink in their craft room, so I'm just going to go with old school. Let's do this. I have to leave the room if I'm going to rinse something off, so that's why I've got a bowl on my desk. If you're ever building a craft room, add yourself a sink. It's a really cool idea. I think Christina Werner has a sink in hers, doesn't she? It's really a good idea. Okay, so I still feel like this is ever so slightly damp, so I am going to use one more paper towel and make sure I've got it, okay? And then we'll start doing some blue. Hey, Harriet, how are you? So glad to have you join us. All right, y'all tell me something else. Tell me something new. Tell me what you think about this stencil. Like it? I will say, I'm so glad all of you are here. It's one of those things that, you know, you never know if anybody's going to even be here, if you'll just be talking to yourself. So it's kind of nice when everybody's here and I get to see you. So, okay, I'm getting this good and dry. It feels dry to the touch. Let me just make sure I don't see anything wet on it. And I bet you're wondering how I know that I need to do that, because I've messed one up by having the stencil be wet. The other thing I did is I finally put my trash can right underneath the desk. Best decision. Okay, so let's get our paper back and we will remask. Now we're going to have to line this up, okay? We got our top part. Now we need to line up our bottom. So this is the top, this is the bottom, okay? And I may have to get my head down here in this camera to get this right. And then we got to, you know, take it and I make it to where there is just a little bit of overlap of the color so that I know that I don't leave a white gap line. Right here. Okay, and then when I've got it the way that I want it, it's right here. And it looks like all of my letters are lined up, which, let's hope so. They're all lined up. Then I'm going to go ahead and use the sticky parts that I have, and then we'll start taping, okay? Now, on this, you have a very small area you could tape right there because that A goes really far. Okay, so I'm going to reuse all this tape again. This time I really don't have to tape quite as much, I don't think, do I? It almost fits. And you can always use your tape again, you know. I love that about this tape, that like I can get it stuck to itself and I still can use it. I have like a million pieces just sticking on my desk. And I'm guessing that I'll probably get to use this piece for probably another few weeks. So I don't know if other people are like that about tape, but I love the fact that I can redo it. So nice. I don't know who came up with that idea, but it's very nice. Okay, so we got this stuck down. Now let's go in with our blues, okay? I'm gonna take this off the screen. I am gonna pop this up while I'm sitting here just because, let's see if I can move that a little bit. Just to remind y'all that that's going on, and that all the information is in the description. I would love for you to sign up with my link. That helps me out so much. It not only helps me if you get the free ticket or the sale ticket. Sale ticket is an affiliate link, so I do get a commission off that. But the free ticket helps too, in that if I don't get enough people sign up for the free ticket, then they don't want to have me back as a speaker. So it helps me to get to do these events again too, so just when you're thinking about why do people constantly asking you, it's because we need that, companies want to see that we can bring people to their events. So with that being the case, every click matters, and I appreciate all of you who are big supporters. Oh, hey, Kathy, with your glue press, I see you commented about the glue press. What kind of glue are you using in it? Because I've still got the Nuvo. I got it recently, and I was actually going to try to use it on this card. Mine's right here. It still has the Nuvo glue in, but I would really like to use a different type of glue in my next bottle. I definitely want to keep this tip. I feel like that works really well, but I would love to hear y'all's opinion if you have one of those, what you think, and what type of glue you feel like works the best for you. So we're going to do the same idea. I'm going to use Ocean Waves, and we're going to use a bigger brush. This is the Altenew brush. Anything that's just, it's got a lot of movement to it, see? So you can really lay down lighter color if you need to. I'm still going to tap it off just a little bit, make sure I get it light enough. And then I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to hold this down, okay? And remember, this light color is going to go all over the letters. This is the easy part. Probably shouldn't say that. Watch me mess up the easy part. Okay. Yeah, and if y'all hadn't hit like on the video, hit like. It helps so much. How many of you guys are out there, like, are y'all also creators? I know some of you are, but is everybody doing YouTube and all that stuff? Or are you just here for fun? Which I love too. Just wondered. Anything? So Kathy, if you see this, tell me what your favorite glue is that you're using in that glue press. Okay, so in this one, I'm going to try to come from the top because there's little points here that I can pull up, which I might have already done. So I'm going to take my inking from here. And you could do what I'm doing with one color. It's just not going to be as drastic. See how I can make the tops of those a little bit bluer just by pressing harder and adding a little bit more ink? If you only have one ink color, you're fine. Just do it. Just do it at different pressures and different amounts and keep layering it and you'll be good. April says she loves the glue press too. Yeah, the HB or the Honeybee Stamps glue seems to be a little too thick, I know she said. I was going to try the Barely Arts glue at some point and see what happens. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to. So now, when we're doing this, remember that our gradient is coming from the top and it's going from the bottom up, okay? So you want your darkest on the bottom so that it looks like a reflection in the middle, okay? So I'm going to take in my second color, and I just have to keep reminding myself I'm coming from the bottom. I'm coming from the bottom, which I did a little bit aggressively. And I'm doing about half of it. And I'm using, I actually think I'm going to use a different brush. Let's see. I'm going to try this because these little ledges on the bottom are kind of, got myself a nice mark there. Which is okay. We'll fix it. Live crafting. No cutting it out, guys. It's real life. Okay, so can I kind of go along the bottoms here. Oops, I just touched the one that had the lid closed. Jeez, I need to put it up here. Now, I start getting messy with this, so I'm going to bring myself a paper towel up here just because I don't want to get my fingerprints in that and then mess up my ink blending. So I'm just going to be careful here. Probably easiest to do the UR first. That little awesome gets a little bit complicated. But I love that Altenew puts out complicated things, like things that you just don't even think of. Like I wouldn't have thought to make a gradient that looks like it's got this amazing chrome appearance to it, you know? Like, thank you, craft companies who are like innovating and coming up with cool stuff. It makes this easier, even if it is a more challenging stencil because it's just a little bit, you have to think about what you're doing. It's still amazing what it looks like. Okay, so I got that pretty close to even. Okay, it'll be interesting to see when we put this card together how different it looks like from the other one that I did, because I'm sure that each of them can be slightly different based on how you're ink blending and just all that. The other thing about Altenew inks is that they do dry a little bit lighter. So if you wonder why I go back and add extra layers, it's just to make sure I get that bright color. Okay, now we're going to have to do the tricky part. So it's the bottom of the awesome, and we got lots of things that are sticking up here. So I'm just going to be very gentle. Okay. Let's see, is there anything else? Anybody else have any fun things going on? I was going to talk about masculine cards. Anybody want to chat with me about like what I think about masculine cards? I really don't think they have to be that hard. They're just, I just love doing them. That's why I tend to break it apart to it. Since I have 2 boys and a husband, they're very picky on their cards and using they've given me lots of suggestions. So I like to pass those suggestions on to people in case you're not getting that feedback from your family. Your family may not care, but mine are teenagers. So, you know, teenagers care about everything. That, you know, how it is. They're embarrassed about everything. They care. And thankfully, both of mine really have been quite supportive of my card making, which is very nice. I appreciate that from them. I don't know if they're watching or not. I'm not saying that because they are. I doubt they're watching right now. They're in school. But if they watch it later. Alrighty. So, okay, you see how I'm getting that second color there? I think I might need to go up just a little bit higher on that awesome because it's a little bit bigger area, and I'm having to come down with the color. So, plus it helps cover up that little boo-boo that I made. Okay, we need some more subjects to talk about. What do y'all want to talk about? Anybody? So masculine cards for me, my favorite color combo, which you will notice because I use it a lot, is blue and green. And you can use whatever masculine color combos you want. I'm sure that it's perfectly fine to use something like pink. I just have, like I said, teenagers who are kind of picky about what I use, and so I try to keep it pretty basic for them. That other card, I did add in some orange. I've done some red at times. Sometimes I have a hard time with red. It can be, I don't know, it can be a hard color to blend with in a way. Now we're going to take our Desert Night. This is the really dark navy. and we're going to do a teeny tiny line, okay? So if you have an even smaller brush than this, go for it. I'm going to just take the edge here and just really get a little bit of this dark on there and kind of run that across the bottom edge. Like I said, with most of my ink going on the stencil. Can you see the difference that's making? Can you see from here to there? It looks cool. Sorry if I'm shaking the camera a little bit, but it looks really good. Okay, so there we go. We got our dark line. I think I got it pretty even. Okay, do the same thing down here. Now, down here I've got to be a little bit more, even more careful because the bottoms, let me use a little pointer. The bottom of the stencil, do you see these right here? Where the bottom of the E is? All that stuff, you could lift that up if you're not careful. So you do need to be very careful with how you blend right here. So just a little bit, and a little bit goes a long way. Can you see the difference it's making already? Just a teeny amount kind of along the bottom edge. Okay, I'm going to do just a little bit on this part, even though this is a little higher, just because it looks good. Okay, you see our little look here? Looks awesome. Just adding a little bit more, just make it even darker. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more to the top too. Okay. Alrighty, now we got that looking good. Got some blue ink everywhere. It is time to reveal. Sorry if I'm getting too loud in there. Okay. Let's get all this tape off. Oops, sorry, hit the microphone stand. All right, so yeah, my favorite masculine card colors are blue and green, but I do love adding some oranges in, occasionally some yellow and red. Like I said, I just have to be careful with the red. I don't know. My kids see red as my mother loves red everything, and so they kind of don't see it as a possible masculine color. They feel like it's like their grandmother's color. So sometimes I have to be careful with that. Okay, here we go. Let's look at this. Try to get it in view for you so you can see how amazing it looks. And just be very careful where you touch, okay? All right, now I'm going to hold it up for you. Let me get this tape off and I'll stick this in the bowl in case, because we're going to use this for something else. Okay, so it's in the bowl. Extra tape over here. All right, you see I did tear that little edge. I'm not going to lift this off this sticky mat yet because, as you'll see, I did a couple of stars around it and really liked how that turned out too. So you can see already that I went a little bit darker on this one than this. And that's probably just because I spent forever on it, adding extra layers. So, but it looks so amazing. I just love that effect. I think it's so cool. So I'm going to rinse the stencil off. We'll add a couple stars and then we will put our card together, okay? So let me see how we're doing. Yeah. Okay, thank you all for hitting the like button, by the way. And I'm going to pop up. Do y'all like having me up in the corner? Is it like kind of like, can you connect a little bit better because I'm here versus just talking to you and you just seeing my hands? What's your thought on that? That's just one of those things I'm kind of playing with today. Okay. We need stars, which means I've got to dry off this stencil again. So here we go with our bowl. So glad. Do not want to knock this thing over. Let's see how we did here. Yeah, basically just dipping it in there completely cleans it off. So that's pretty cool. Most inks it's that way. It just depends on the ink. You know, these are, their water really gets them off pretty easily. If it was something else, you may have to work at it a little bit. But what's y'all's favorite ink right now? Are you having one that you're liking that we all need to try? I always love trying new ink. I am such a fan of ink. And I know April, who's here, she's always telling me she loves ink too. So she's always telling me things that I need to check out or that she's really liking. Okay, I think I got that completely dry. Now there's 3 different stars on this stencil, and I'm going to use all 3. And I'm going to do them in the same general idea of what we did so that we have the same kind of look. You could just color them in and then have them there. That'd be fine. The other thing I think would be interesting to do with this is to use 1/2 of it and like clear heat emboss it. So like one part is shiny and the bottom part's not, or you could do the whole thing. It's a little harder to do the whole thing because you're going to have to do it in sections, but I think that could really look very interesting. I actually thought about like putting glossy accents or something on there, but I just really liked how it looked and decided I'd go with that. Okay, so let's add our stars, and then I'll show you the pieces of paper that I did. We'll still need to do a little bit of ink blending. So this one's a little bit lighter than my original. And then I'm going to use my biggest star kind of down here in this corner. I'm going to do 2 here and 1 up top, okay? So you got to be careful with your stars. One, it takes a while for ink to dry, so try to be careful with your current ink that you're not messing anything up. The other thing is you're doing these teeny stars, you need to probably do some masking over here or you're going to be in trouble. Okay, and I'm going to try to keep it close to the same plane, but you'll see where I'm going to line it up. It'll go down a little bit lower than my previous. And I think I'm going to do blue on this one. So we'll go like right here. Use that tape that is amazing. Y'all have a favorite tape? Does anybody else like love tape like I do? This is really a fun one. It really works well. And I love that I can use it so many times. So makes it a little less worrisome on how expensive things are, you know, if you get to use them multiple times. So I'm covering up these letters because I don't want to accidentally get some lettering or anything over there. I think that's about all I'll have to do. I may do one. I'm going to do that top star too because look at this. I wadded it up and look how easily it comes apart. I mean, what other tape can you do that with? That's amazing. Okay. By the way, I bought this tape. I know people always wonder like, oh, was she given that tape and she had to talk about it? No. I bought this tape at no discount. All right. So here we go. I'm gonna have to be careful right here. I might put one more piece of tape just to be safe. I'm as you can see, extra careful on my tape. So with this one, I'm gonna do it 2 colors. Okay, I'm gonna do like the medium. Oops, like once again dropping some ink pads. I'm gonna do the medium, which is dusk, all over, and then I'm gonna do the dark line with that desert night. So I'm gonna just kind of. It's pretty quick and easy. You're just getting some color down. Make sure you got all those little corners in it. Okay. And then you're going to take in your dark color with your brush and add it to the bottom. Okay. I hope y'all like stencils. I'm guessing if you didn't like stencils, you wouldn't still be here. They're just, they give you so many options. So I'm going to put my really dark color here, and then I'm going to use the brush part of this, and I'm going to pull some ink up to kind of blend it a little bit more. Okay, just to make it a little bit darker. I'm going to add a little bit here, and then I'm going to do one more layer, okay? One more layer of dark down in that edge and maybe up this side a little bit. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. Ooh, I almost dropped that. Whoops. Okay. Sorry about that. Now I've got it on my hand, so hang on. You do want to make sure those hands are clean or you are going to get your whole project messed up. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to slowly take off this star. See how that star is just a little bit darker? I love how that looks. Okay, next we are going to do the other star. We're going to do the second largest star. And then I'm going to do the smallest star. Now, you've got your blue here, and we're about to use green. So I'm going to use a little bit of paper towel and dip it in this water and just make sure I've got that rubbed off. Thank you, April. So do y'all feel like when you're doing masculine cards, like, I really like to look at the font. Y'all do that? I like it to have some blocky font. I think it's okay if it has some cursive like this, but there's certain fonts that to me look more acceptable to my teenagers, that they're not, you know, being frilly. And, okay, so I'm going to use the second one, and I'm going to kind of go like right here. You can put it wherever you want to. But I'm going to go like, I'm pretending like these are like my embellishments that I would use. So just kind of doing it with all ink blending. So this card, that's one thing my kids, they don't like a lot of like sequiny, I can't say that word, embellishments. They just want it to be, you know, a more simple card. And so I think that also helps with masculine cards, is if you just keep it pretty simple. It can have details and such, but maybe just not all the things. Okay, so this one's going to be green. I'm going to do it in lime and fresh leaf, which are the second and third in that color family, okay? So I'm going to use this larger brush for the light color, and this is such a teeny star, it'll be pretty quick. We've got one more after this, and we're going to cut the card up, okay? Hopefully all will be successful. All right, so things that are like coming on my channel, I don't know if y'all have seen recently, I love embossing folders. I've done a lot of embossing folder things. So I've got a series on embossing folders that's like series 1 and 2 right now. And I'm just going to say I love embossing folders, and I'm sure there will be more, but if you hadn't seen those, check them out. What kind of things are you looking for information on these days? I actually just got a better press, and thank you, April, for helping me out to make sure I know what I'm doing. But it is a really fun tool, and I know it's going to have all kinds of awesome things, so I'm working on playing with it to see what I think and figure out what kind of like techniques that I can bring to the game. You know, it's always nice to like put my own spin on techniques that are already being done and see what people think. So I'm adding a little bit of the darker color to the bottom half of this. Okay, and once I get that on there, I'm going to make it darker by using the tip of my brush and a lot more ink. Okay, so I'm going to make it a little darker. Can you tell that? I'm kind of going up the edges just to give it a little definition. Okay, and then I'm going to do that same thing where I rub over it with the whole brush like this. Okay, that just helps blend your ink a little bit better. And if you still don't feel like it's blend, just keep going. It's still wet. So on this one, when I'm looking in the camera, it looks like I've got it a little dark right here. So I'm going to do just a little bit more right here. So the nice thing about ink blending is you can just keep on or do just a little bit and it all looks really cool. So, all right, so that's all I'm going to do with that one. And then my third one is going to be the smallest of these. Let me show you what that looks like. Oop, look, I got just a little bit there. I had just a smidge of a hole in my tape. Look. Maybe I should just do another star over there. Let's see here what we think we could do. Am I going to need that? I might need that little edge. You know, you can always cut your card down. So I could add a little one over here. It's a little bit off center. Do like that and here and just one over here. What do y'all think? Add a third. Anybody? I think I'm just going to trim the card. We'll go from there. Okay, let's wipe this off a little bit. Told you the tape was important on this one. And here's your proof that it is. We're going to do 1 star right here. Get that tape back out. I may try using like a sand eraser too. See what happens. Let me see. Now, thank y'all for being here with me. It's okay if you need to go. You can always watch the replay. I just enjoy sitting around and chatting with you. It's always fun. If you are heading out, just make sure that you go through the description, which is underneath this video, and it will have everything that I'm using so that you know. And it will also have the link to the Card Maker Success Summit if you want to sign up for that. If any of y'all have never done it before and you have other questions, I've got a whole blog post on it, or you can just message me. I'm perfectly fine answering questions. And I would love to see some of you guys there. Okay. I have to be a little careful here because I'm putting it over my writing. Okay, here we go. Hopefully I've got everything taped better than I did right there. Okay, let's see here. We're gonna do green. Let's do those same colors. Let's do lime and fresh leaf. So lime is going to go on our base. I'm gonna use this bigger brush. Alrighty, so there you go. And then we're going to do this fresh leaf along the edge. This one's a small one, so it's a little easier. Alrighty. So are y'all getting ready for a big weekend? What's going on today for everybody? I know that it's Thursday, which is amazing. So exciting. It's always nice to head towards that weekend. Okay, there it is. I may add one more layer of this, and then we're going to get things and start cutting them apart. We actually need to do a little bit of ink blending on our layers, but that's pretty simple. Okay, there's that third one. Woo! Okay, so we're done with the stencil. You can put yours in here to soak or whatever you want to do with it. I'm going to do that because if I don't, I'm going to accidentally get it on my project. Okay, here we go. Stenciling done. I did make that one boo-boo right there. That's okay. We'll trim it up. No problems. You see what I mean? This could really be outlined in black if you wanted to give it a different look. And so it really gives you some cool ideas. The thing about stencils, especially when a company designs them like this, is it basically does the work for you. This one I did put a little bit more into just to make it really obvious that it was that nice reflection look. But most of the stencils from every company, but the ones that I probably have the most experience with is Altenew. And Altenew makes tons of layered stencils. Sorry. And they are so beautiful that, I mean, you don't even have to like do the shading and they still look beautiful. Just use some different colors or different amount of colors. I'm going to get this off my sticky. I'll show you up close. See how cool that looks? Okay, so let me show you how we did the last bit. So I'm going to have on here, if you remember the card, it's got a blue layer and a green layer, and it's actually stacked up in the middle. So I've got the middle part raised up. So with the blue, I'm going to take this piece that I've already cut, which I've got the size here. This is 2 inches wide by 5.5 because it's going to be a landscape card. Okay. So what we're going to do is just some quick ink blending from the top and the bottom, okay? I am going to use the mid color and kind of decide how that looks. I may decide to go Desert Night. We'll see how it looks. But since this card's a little bit lighter than my other card, then I'm going to see. So I think Cindy, I don't know if you just joined us, but if you did, I showed another masculine card that I did. If you want to see that, I'm going to pull it up really quick. So while I'm doing this ink blending. So this is another one that's just stencils, and I put some stuff on here, a little bit of splatter and a sentiment. And I thought this sentiment could work really well, kind of like "You were awesome." I mean, everybody wants to hear they're amazing. Doesn't matter if it's a masculine card or not. And it's one of those, again, that when you're looking at fonts, you've got a blocky font and a little bit of a cursive type font, which I think looks really good on a masculine card. So, all right, so I'm just basically right now creating my own cardstock. So I'm not really being super neat. I'm just getting some color down, trying to make it generally even. And I'm not going from the sides because this is only going to stick out on the bottom and the top. So I'm doing the bottom and the top of this piece. Then we're going to do a green piece as our other layer. Okay, yes, hi Cindy, thank you. Yeah, so if you ever have questions, you can find me on Instagram at Nikki Hearts Cards as well. It's a little easier for me to answer questions from that platform, or if you subscribe to my newsletter. If you ever email me and I don't email you back, it's because I didn't get your email. I'm very, very good at responding and like to talk to people in my crafty community. It just makes me happy. Okay. So all of those links are in the description of this video. Okay, so this looks kind of like a hot mess, but that's all I need. Okay, I just need something that looks like blue cardstock. Okay, so now I'm going to do the top. And you could use any type of brush for this. I'm using this one just because it's, those other ones were real detailed. This one's a little bit more broad, and so I can get the color down without killing my hand. Okay. So when you stick things to embossing folders, I'd love to hear what kind of adhesive you're using. Are you using a double-sided adhesive? Are you using glue? With the way that 3D embossing folders are, and they're raised in parts and lowered in parts, sometimes I think that's a challenge with glue. So I'm curious if you have a specific adhesive that you tend to use when it is an embossing folder card, if you're putting something on top of it to keep things straight and where they actually stick. So, okay, so I got that. I feel like this needs just to be a little bit darker just to match. But I'm not going on perfect here, just going for general. I do love this Bristol smooth paper. I'm sure there's some other good smooth papers out there. This is just the one that I started with when I first started making cards, and it just, maybe I'm just used to it, but it works really well to blend inks on. Okay. All right, so that looks pretty good. Just making sure. Okay, so we got our blue stripe. I'm going to set it aside and try not to put my fingerprints on it. Oops, sorry. Hitting the microphone. Okay, so I'm just going to set this aside and let it dry a little bit, and then I'm going to pull out the green. I do need to wipe this down before I start blending in green. My green piece is 2.5 inches, okay, and then the length is the same, 5.5. Not the same as 2.5, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it's the length of a card. Any of y'all big like 5x7 card makers, or I think what's that called, A6, A7? Can't remember what the technical name is for that. I tend to stick with A2s for the most part. I think I just like that size. I know how much stuff fits on that size, and it just works well for me. So I am, when I wash this, when I'm completely done with the project, I use something that doesn't have fiber in it. And I always feel and make sure it's still sticky. But a lot of times when I'm wiping in my craft room, I just use a paper towel that is a little bit damp and make sure that I've got all the ink off. Because sometimes as it turns colors, you're not going to notice that there's still some ink on there. See how much ink is still on there? So I wipe it a few times. Any of you guys have a stamp wheel? I know April does. Anybody else have one? What do y'all think about it? It's rapidly becoming one of my faves. I know they're expensive. But so far, I think I've had mine for, I'm trying to remember how long I've had mine. Not as long as I've had a Misty, but definitely, I would say 6 months. Does that sound right? Do y'all remember when they came out? I gotta take a sip of water, sorry. All right, so our green piece, 2.5 inches by 5.5. Okay, putting it down on my sticky mat. And I'm going to go in with the green. I think I'm going to do the middle green on this one as well. So kind of the same idea. So we did on our blue, we did the middle of our blue, and on the green, we did the middle color. So if you were here at the beginning, I used 3 colors for that ink blending, and I'm using my middle tone for this. Okay, so let's go with lime. I am not cleaning my brush off. I know that I've used this brush on multiple colors, but they're all in the same family. And as you can see, it's not like it has a ton on there. You can't even see a color. I don't know if y'all are big brush cleaners or what. I just don't have enough brushes to be cleaning them all the time. I've got to keep using them if I'm going to keep making projects. So if I had like a million brushes, then yeah, that's fine. But most of the time I'm just reusing them. I try to stick to the same color family, but you know. Okay, and if you get a big spot like that, no big deal. Just go back in with more color. I'm not, like I said, we just need a little line on this, about 0.25 of a line of color. That's all we need to make our little thing here. So with embossing folders, did anybody say what their favorite is on embossing folders? And I don't know if any of you guys are on Facebook, but I think I saw April comment from Facebook. I just want to make sure things are running okay over there. If you're on Facebook, would you send in a comment just so that I can see that it's coming from there? I see a lot of comments from YouTube, but I don't see a ton from Facebook. So if somebody would just check and tell me too, like, are there people out there who'd much rather do this on Facebook? Are you good with YouTube? What's your thought? I tend to go with putting it on YouTube. That way people can get to this video again later. But with my new software that I'm trying out, I'm able to broadcast to Facebook as well. I still haven't gotten it to where I can broadcast to Instagram really well. So I haven't done that yet, but I feel like there's a big card making community on Facebook. And so I want to make sure that if they're wanting to see some lives, that I'm out there doing it. So if you haven't followed me on Facebook, I'm Nikki. My page is Nikki Hearts Cards, and I'm Nikki Baxley. But if you want to card stuff, then you definitely want to go to my page. So Nikki Hearts Cards. And if you're a creator and you need tech help and you're just kind of want other creators to talk to about this whole process of doing YouTube and all of that, I have a Facebook group called Nikki's YouTube. Nikki's YouTube something. I'll put it in the description later. But basically, if you go to my page, I think you're gonna find my YouTube group as well. And we've got a few hundred members now, and it's really a very helpful, loving group. We just, do tech type questions and, how do you do affiliate links and things like that, that I felt like there was a big gap in that knowledge. Like when you're getting started, sometimes you just don't know where to turn. So I thought that I created that group as an option because I felt like I didn't have anyone that could really, like, you just need like a tutor or something. Because this tech stuff can be so much. So, over time you find people in the community that become your helpers. But when you're first starting out, it's nice to have a crew that is willing to help you when you have a question. Let me look at how that looks behind this. Okay. We got it I got that a little bit darker right there. I'm going to see if I can smooth that out just a little. That's all my fault because I was being messy. So don't worry, guys. I was not doing the best job here, but it's hard to talk and ink blend at the same time. How are we doing on camera shaking? Am I getting too aggressive on my ink blending? Is it okay? I can see it's shaking a little bit. Okay. Alrighty, I'm going to go with that. I think that the bottom might be a little bit darker, but who cares? No big deal. Okay, you could really go crazy and use your liner again and like create, like, maybe we should just try that. Create like a line along the bottom. I wonder what would happen if we did that. I'm going to try it. Yeah, actually, it's kind of nice. Just gives it a little bit of a pop of that ledge. Can you tell in the video? Kind of nice. I'm going to do that again. Sorry, I'm right-handed, so you won't be able to see what I'm doing until I come across, probably. Just keeping it right at the edge and doing a little bit darker color. You mess up a little spot, just blend it in with the bigger brush. That actually looks good. I kind of like that. Okay. Alrighty. Now, one thing you could do, depending on the type of ink pad that you're using, some ink pads you're able to, let me see if I've got a scrap piece of paper. No, I do not. I got a little too prepared for this and didn't leave myself out some extras. But say you've got a piece of paper like this, and some ink pads, you can pull them along the side and create your color. These are a felty pad, so it's a little bit harder to do that versus a sponge pad. I wonder if I can reach a sponge pad. I've only got so far on my microphone and headphones. Okay, here's a sponge pad. Sorry, I can only go so far because I'm plugged into everything. Okay, this is a Simon Says stamp. Look at the difference in that. Because it's foam, you can make your cardstock a lot faster that way. I just originally used Altenew inks, so I was sticking with that. But I wanted to show you there is a difference when you're looking at ink pads as to what you can do with them, okay? This one definitely needs more refills more often, but it is a fun way to create your own cardstock. Okay, let's put our layers together here. So I'm going to go ahead while this is even stuck down, and let's use the glue press for fun. If you hadn't seen one of these, I'm going to use a glue press, and I'm going to use my ruler because I'm a little bit. I'll move it over just a little bit. One thing I think that really makes a difference on cards is creating clean, straight lines. So I'm going to use this as a little bit of a guide here. This doesn't, I wish that Altenew would make us a T-ruler that fits inside this. I think I'm going to have to take the sticky part out and use it that way. Wouldn't that be a good idea, everybody? That's one thing about the Misty is that T-ruler fits perfectly because they made it. And then get over here. Okay, I'm just going to stick it like this so this part comes out. Okay, and nice thing about this is I can use the lines on the mat. See how I can line it up to make sure that it's even. Okay, and then I can use this to help with one, keeping it there, but also as I lay this down with some glue, which I need to get my little glue dot off here. When I lay down the glue, let me see, I may have left it out too long. Yeah, it's not cooperating with me right now. I must have let it dry just a little bit. I'll probably need to stick a pin in it. So it is a great device. I really like it. But right now we're going to go with some Barely Art glue. Okay, so I'm going to line these stripes up. I usually eye it first. And then with Barely Art glue, you can adjust, so you can take your ruler in. Make sure you got a good straight line. Is it going to be perfect? I don't know. This is as close as it's going to get, right? Okay, there we go. So now we got that glue together. Oops. I'm going to take it off here. Okay. That's our background to our You Are Awesome. So now we need to chop up our You Are Awesome and put it on here. And then we're going to put it on our background. Now, one thing I've noticed when I'm doing embossing folders is sometimes I get just like a little bit of white, like if I've used the embossing folder for something else. So a lot of times I keep an eraser around just to get those little areas off. Or if all else fails and I cannot get them off easily, then I use a black pen and I touch it because I don't want that little dot of white. And I think it's just from paper in my embossing folder that I'd use that's white. It just kind of like gets lint on there. But occasionally I have trouble getting it off. So let's see if that one's going to come off. So, you know, just make sure you've got them all clean. Most of the time it just comes off, but I'm a little bit picky about not wanting the white to show. So we'll fix that if we need to. Okay. All right, so I messed this up just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and trim down our You Are Awesome, and then we'll trim down our panels to make it look like I did not make a mistake. How about that? All right, that's just the way it is. Okay, to reach my paper trimmer, I forgot to put that close. I'm going to have to take these off. Okay. All right, here we go. Sorry, my hair's now in my way. Okay, so let's trim this up. And then we're going to trim our panels and we'll be done. Okay, so if you weren't here at the beginning and you're here at the end, yay. But also, I am a part of the Card Maker Success Summit. I would love for you to attend. And I am going to be presenting, I think I can tell you what on like making cards 3D. Kind of the same idea of using ink blending to create effects like this. So definitely a fun one. I'm pretty excited about it. Hopefully you will be too. Okay. So there goes our mess up, okay? Oops. Hold on to your paper really well. I think I still got that a little uneven. What's y'all's favorite paper trimmer? You have a favorite that you love? I like the guillotine cutters like this, but I am always on the lookout for the best paper trimmer ever, you know? Aren't we all? We use them so much. Okay, so here's our little sentiment. Let's look at what size this is compared. If we want it to go, you know, we could just frame it like that. That would be okay, and then we wouldn't have to cut our paper down, right? We just need to add a little bit of ink blending. Really not even that much. I don't know. What do you think about that? I think I cut this off and just leave it kind of in the middle, not all the way. If that's the case, I need to add a little bit of blue. I don't know. I think I'm just going to cut it down and just have a smaller card. How about that? See how long this card is. So this piece right here is, I love using this like a ruler too, is right at 5.25. So you could easily put a backer on it. And I do that all the time with this size. So I use like a 4 by 5.25. And then I'll put a base behind this section that's like either a solid color or you could make it a color. So that's what I'm going to do. I feel like this side is a little bit uneven, so I'm going to cut it right to 5.25, and then I'll know for the rest of the measurements that that these are exactly 5.25. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to freehand cut that part. So let's add some foam tape. Let's see which ones I've got over here. Why don't y'all tell me what your favorite foam tape is? You got one you just love? I'm going to use this one today. I believe this one's from scrapbook.com. So it's a roll and it's kind of thicker. So I like that I can just cut off what I need. It's really helpful. Oops. Sorry. Told you I was a mess. How about y'all look at that. I cut that freehand and look at that. Perfect. I love it when that happens. Look, it fits perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to line it up and then I'm going to trim with my scissors this other edge off, okay? So let me move my trimmer real quick. One thing I do like to do with foam tape is to add some glue to the back. So I'm going to add some glue just so I've got some wiggle room, okay? Not because it won't stick, but because I want to make sure I've got a straight line. Okay, so, and if y'all are new here or you haven't been here long, I love masculine cards, so just FYI, there's a lot of those on my channel. So I'm going to use this to line up. Okay. Sorry, I can hear things through my headphones. My headphones are a little bit like noise canceling, but then I can hear a little thing and I'm like, I don't know what I'm hearing. It must be my husband moving around out there. I don't know if y'all can hear it or not. Okay, let's see how that line looks. Here's my thing. I usually kind of wing it and then just make sure I'm right. Yep, and that's level. Good. If you can't do that, no problems. Okay, and then I'm going to use these. These scissors are new to me. They're the Tonic Tim Holtz ones. And man, they cut great. They're not like, they're a little bit serrated, it almost seems like. So it's not like, I wouldn't like just fussy cut or anything with it, but it's nice when you're doing something that you needed to be just like straight like that. And with this, I want to make sure I've got no part of it showing. See? Okay, so now we have fixed our card right here. And so I'm going to take a little edge off this and then it'll all be lined up and we can look at the difference in the two, okay? So we are almost done. Make sure you look at my links in the description. I'm going to pop up here and just so you remember who I am. I think you've been on here long enough with me, but I'm Nikki and I love having you. So thank you so much. Let me grab my trimmer and we're going to trim this black panel down just about 0.25 of an inch, it looks like. Which should be right on our measurements. Should make it 5 points. So if you're wanting to measure a piece of paper, you need to close your handle and then you can measure up on the top. Okay, so I'm going to make it right to 5.25 and go from there. And you really have to hold the paper and you should go fast. Okay. So my other idea with this set for a masculine card is to grab some watercolor paper and flip it over and see how you've got wells. It's perfectly defined already. It would take you some time, but it would look really cool as a geometric pattern. Like you could watercolor in there and just put yourself a beautiful sentiment and it would be all done. It'd be so beautiful. You could ink smush on there and you could do whatever. And I love that you've got two, every embossing folder has two sides, you know, it's really got some cool options. So now we're just going to attach. So when I do an embossing folder, I tend to use a double-sided adhesive, but this one, especially if you've got the points coming up, okay, because you don't have a whole lot you can stick to and you don't want to stick it down in the holes. This one, most of this side is the same. So I could use glue if I wanted, or I could just use an adhesive. Both of those will work fine. I feel like on the opposite side, you would probably want to use a double-sided adhesive because of those ridges. Okay, so I'm going to put some double-sided adhesive on here and we will be done. How about that? Just use a little bit of this. These are some extra pieces I cut the other day. I have a lot of crafting organization videos that are available on my channel, but also coming out for lots of different classes. So if you like that kind of thing, you may want to check those out as well. So my paper is when you emboss, sometimes your paper is just like a little bit off. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some foam behind it. Another one of my favorite products, okay? It's this foam adhesive. And it just keeps your card straight. I don't think this is in my links, but I will make sure I put it in there after that. Ooh, I want to hear what everybody's favorite white gel pen is too. Tell me, Kathy, what do you find out? Okay, I need to trim this down just a little bit. Ooh, That does not fit under there. Okay. So I'm going to take this to here. May not be the cleanest cut, but it works. Okay. All right, and then I can use these for double-sided adhesive later, which is nice. So let me show you what I mean. So you see how we've got a bent card? It's like bent. Now I'm going to add this. It's got a double-sided adhesive on it, and I'm going to press it down so that it keeps the card straight, okay? So applying it, and then keeping everything straight and flat as I lay it down. Look at how much straighter that card is. Can you tell? Still a little bit bendy. You can always kind of mush it, but it makes it so much straighter, okay? Love using that on cards. Now let's get our stuff off here, and we are going to be done. So as we wrap up, thank you so much, Kathy. I appreciate all of you being here. I would love to know your comments. Do you like lives? Do you want lives on specific subjects? What is your favorite thing right now as far as content that we're putting out? Are you wanting more masculine card content, more embossing folders? I just like to hear your opinions so that I can make things that you're wanting to see. So, just FYI, if you don't have a grid mount like this, ooh, you need one really bad. Because look, I can look at these side lines, I can line it up, look at it, and make sure I've got this on the card just right. Okay. And I can look over here, make sure I lay it down at exactly the same. And then you got a straight card. You see? Let me move this off the bottom. I did briefly talk about Cardmaker Success Summit too, so make sure you look in the description if you're interested in doing that. I would love to have you there. There is a free ticket option, okay? And I'm teaching a lot about ink blending in my fun ink blending, embossing folders, just lots of fun. So I'm going to get that off the screen. I am going to say goodbye now, and y'all just tell me if you have any questions, concerns, anything, or things that you're wanting to see. Let me know, and we'll do that. So here's the original. I did do a little bit darker on the original. Look at that. Those are going to be great masculine cards. I think my kids are going to love these. So you can do them in all different shades. You could do this in red and blue. It would be so cool. All right. Well, y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for being here with me. I know it's a long live, but lives, making cards takes a long time. So sometimes it gets a little bit long. I appreciate it. And just make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Have a great day. Bye.